As I was reflecting over the past year, it occurred to me that today there is most likely one question on everyone's mind. Is it working? Is the Cleveland plan working? In fact, just last weekend, after visiting a friend in Youngstown, my wife and I decided to pick a local restaurant using the Points of Interest tab of my car's GPS, only to find when the GPS guided us to the location, that's actually the location, the restaurant had been closed and torn down years ago. The truth is that, like our GPS devices, Ohio's state reporting system can be a convenient and reliable way of knowing whether our schools are improving. But right now, Ohio's system is recalculating. So if our accountability system is recalculating, then how can we determine if the Cleveland plan is working? What did we do before we had GPS systems? Sailors answered that question by looking for a set of guiding stars. In navigation, it's called finding the Plow. We actually know the Plow as the Big Dipper. You see, the Big Dipper is always in the same relative position compared to the North Star. And no matter where the Big Dipper is in the sky, the outsides of the dipper point directly to the North Star. So that's my answer. All I needed to do to show you that the Cleveland plan is working was to find the guiding stars that point to our North Star. And then I could answer that question, is it working? The first cluster is those that support our mission of high academic achievement. The Cleveland plan can only work if the organization is able to support it. This year's state budget reduced CMSD's funding by $13 million a year beginning next year. That budget cut is approximately 25% of the value of the levy voters passed in 2012 and will be asked to renew in 2016. But despite that continued challenge of school funding in our state and nation, CMSD is on track to keep our promise to the people of Cleveland that the 2012 levy will last 4 years while we invest, not disinvest, in our children. And last year alone, 81% of CMSD's teachers were rated as skilled or accomplished on our new, rigorous teacher development and evaluation system. And 71% of those teachers had student achievement growth scores that met or exceeded the state of Ohio's learning expectations. Here again, I point to a second cluster of 3 guiding stars. The first is parent engagement. Many people would have guessed CMSD's parent engagement to be a lot lower than 73%. But last year, with increased effort to raise awareness of the critical role families and caregivers play in student success, that number increased from 73% to 80%. That means 8 out of 10 CMSD families participated in active, measurable, and meaningful ways in their child's education last year, a 6.8% increase in just 1 year. Since 2001, CMSD has lost 34,000 students at a rate of more than 2,000 students a year. This year, however, CMSD opened school not with 2,000 fewer students, but with 88 more students than the year before. While the increase is not staggering, it's just 88 kids, our current enrollment of 39,146 students far exceeds the 36,000 students the research firm FutureThink predicted we would and should have today, based on our past trends. But to fully gauge whether the Cleveland plan is working, we need to look to the final cluster of guiding stars, those that illuminate our academic mission itself. So in March of 2014, the Cleveland Early Childhood Compact was formed. You know this group by the name Pre-for-Cle. And in less than a year and a half, our combined efforts have increased access to quality preschool education by over 1,500 seats. That 52% increase in just 17 months led President Barack Obama to herald the Pre-for-Cle initiative at a White House summit on early childhood education last year. as one of the nation's best examples of bringing entire communities together on behalf of children. And today, over a quarter of our community's 3- and 4-year-olds are in high-quality early childhood programs in Cleveland. But last fall, we faced an even bigger challenge when the state of Ohio raised the score needed to pass the third grade reading test. We started last fall with only 26% of our third graders on track to pass. But as of last week, when we returned to school, 86% of our third graders had passed the test and were promoted to fourth grade. That's a 60-point gain. Nowhere is there a clearer sign that we are on the right course to raise student achievement across this district than our graduation rate, which was just 52.2% when I became CEO 4 years ago. Since then, CMSD's graduation rate has increased by 12.1% and is a district record high since Ohio began recording cohort graduation rates in 1995. Collectively, these guiding stars point toward our North Star, our mission, our goal of high academic achievement for every child in Cleveland. I'm not suggesting by any means that all of the stars are yet aligned. CMSD has not completed its mission, and it's clear we have a long way to go. And 9th and 10th grade students who miss more than 10 days of school are 34% less likely to graduate high school. That's why this year we've kicked off our Get to School, You Can Make It student attendance campaign. The campaign roots effort to educate students and families, and in fact our whole community, danger just 1 day per month is designed to end failure by absence. And when we do, our guiding stars will shine even more brightly. You can show your support right now by posting a message to our student scholars and their families and caregivers on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with the hashtag #GetToSchoolCLE. Get the number 2 school CLE. Help all of our kids and families know that every one of us thinks it's important that our kids are in school. I can think of no better way to conclude than by putting a face on the shining stars I pointed to in my address today. I'm so honored to have a number of guests who are living examples of our guiding stars with me today. I'm going to ask each of them to stand as I acknowledge them. Meet Rashi and Waddell Brooks and their daughter Sasha, along with her siblings, made a claim at our attendance campaign kickoff. Sasha has 100% perfect attendance from kindergarten through 12th grade. Meet also Alexander Moore and his mother, Christine Turner. Alex is one of our Marion Sterling scholars, who as a third grader last year achieved a 96-point growth from fall to spring on his Ohio Achievement Assessment and was promoted to the fourth grade.
I served the past 2 years at East Tech High School as a AmeriCorps member with City Year, and we focus heavily on attendance, and our new 60 AmeriCorps members just started in 7 different schools. And I was wondering what advice you would give them when they're making attendance calls and our students are saying that they're concerned about violence in their communities or violence in their schools, and how can we advocate for them to still come to school but feel safe?
Yeah, community violence is a big issue for us, and it's a big issue for all urban communities. I would start by letting them know some really good news. The serious safety measures, the serious safety issues that happen in the Cleveland schools have dropped by 42% in the last several years. 42%. Our schools are safe places to be. Now, does that mean that they don't have fights? No. Things happen, they're schools. They happen in every school in the country. But as far as safe places to be, they are. And our students have told us this through our Conditions for Learning survey and through our Student Advisory Committee that used to rank safety as the #1 priority, and now it's dropped off of the top 3. We also have to pay attention to safe pathways to school, and we do have safe walking routes and actually are surveying parents right now to make them better. There is strength in numbers, and so working with City Year and other partners to make sure that kids who really don't feel safe come together to school, ride the bus together, ride with young near peers like you. There are meaningful, tangible things we can do to counter the effects of what's going on in our community that has nothing to do with our kids. So those are some tips that I would offer to get started. Thank you.